Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Monzon Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together here on YouTube and here on Facebook. It is a pleasure to see you every morning and connect as we share headlines from our city, our state, our country, as we put the microphone right where it should be. There you go. How is everybody doing this morning? It is Wednesday, May the 14th, and it's a lovely day. It is warm, it's sunny, it's beautiful outside, and of course, it's early enough that it doesn't feel too warm. Today, we have interesting news to share. I have a word of the day, the word on waffle. I will tell you why it is the word of the day. And I have news, I have reminders of events, I have mistakes to acknowledge, I have, the the usual broadcast stuff. So if you are comfortable and you have your iced coffee nearby, let's get started and let's get this show on the road, starting with this one. SEAPAL, of course, they're always working to improve our water supply, and they started doing emergency repairs to a sewer pipe on Francisco Villa Avenue yesterday. This is not far from Macro Plaza between Alondra and Golondrina streets. This work, of course, created some traffic concerns, and the work will continue today as the pipe has reached the end of its useful life. Vehicular traffic is expected to be released from south to north this afternoon once the work, which includes replacing the concrete slab and setting the concrete, is completed. So if you find yourselves in this part of town, just be mindful that it may be a little slow to move through. Now, this next news item caught me totally by surprise, and I suppose it is what it is. You know how they're building that? Well, it's almost finished, Vidanta, right on the other side of the state border. Well, now the mayor of Bahía de Banderas, which is the municipality north of us and in the state of Nayarit, the mayor, Héctor Santana Garcia, has announced that the Department of Public Works is developing an ambitious project to build a large recreational park of approximately 15 hectares located near the highway corridor between Mezcales and San Juan de Abajo. A big public amusement park to, well, certainly not to compete with Vidanta, but to attract different audiences. Santana has announced that the park would be designed for the families of Bahía de Banderas with multiple amenities such as a miniature train, green areas, an auditorium, and a large fountain, among other attractions. Of course, Mayor Santana did not reveal estimated start dates for the construction or details about the bidding process, but the project would be a major undertaking. It'll be a matter of time to see if this is actually something that will materialize or not. Of course, this would make the people of that part of the municipality very, very happy. But elsewhere, things are not so good for Santana. You see, the proposal to make downtown Sayulita pedestrian-friendly on weekends continues to generate disagreements among residents and merchants in the little Pueblo Mágico. According to several accounts, it is the downtown business community that is suffering the consequences as sales Sales have decreased due to the inability of visitors to enter the commercial area due to traffic restrictions. So much for parking your car and walking a few blocks. In addition, there are reports of uncontrolled parking and the use of golf carts transporting tourists from the town entrance. Some of these vehicles are being driven by minors and in the wrong direction, posing a potential risk of accidents. Of course, I mean, one has to factor the time of year, and I wonder if that business community is doing this. It is May, it is warm, and who wants to be walking out and about when it is May and it is warm? It's just the nature of the beast. But that's what's happening in Sayulita. And speaking of warm and nature of the beast, if you think it's hot out there, you are not alone. The National Meteorological Service has issued an alert for an intense heat wave that is affecting 23 states across the country, beginning today and continuing through Saturday. This weather event will cause temperatures considerably above average, and it will generate cloudy skies and favors an increase in solar radiation and heat. So the rest of the week is probably going to be on the warm side. Let's double check with Snarky Weatherman to see what he has to say about this. And he says, "You're the only civilian who knows I'm sentient. This knowledge could prove very dangerous for you." Okay, whatever. It is 29 degrees out there. Humidity, according to Snarky Weatherman, is 57%. And our forecast for today indicates it will be a humid day with clear skies with a high of 33 and a low of 21. Tomorrow, Thursday, partly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 32 and a low of 19. And then Friday will be another humid day with mostly clear skies, a high of 31 and a low of 19. Now, moving on to the second block, your fearless host made a little boo-boo. I first published on Facebook that this event would take place today at 5:30 p.m., but of course I published it for 5:30 a.m., so it's disappeared. So I created the event again. No need to RSVP or anything, as I don't think there's going to be a large group of us. But if you have no plans this afternoon and would like to dine together, it would be a pleasure to share a table with you or to be nearby. This is tonight at 5:30 p.m. at Rico Indian on the Isla Río Cuale. It is a beautiful al fresco Indian food restaurant that I really love. And I hope to see some of you over there. I have received notes and messages from some friends that are going to be attending, so I look forward to that. Let's talk about on waffling. You see, I got this next news item from a public relations source. This came from En route Communications, which is the company that promotes Nuevo Vallarta and Nuevo Nayarit and the Riviera Nayarit in the United States. So, of course, the Festival of Wind is coming. It is happening from May 16 to 18 in Bahía de Banderas. For those of you that don't know, it is Latin America's biggest kiteboarding event. They are expecting 400 athletes from more than 10 countries, and it'll be a great show with colorful kites. You can expect exciting competitions in freestyle, downwind, slalom, big air, and foil regatta. Now, what has this got to do with On Waffle? This is something that I've learned the more I work with ChatGPT, and the more ChatGPT becomes one of my esteemed assistants. I really use it all the time now. But sometimes when you work with ChatGPT or other AI sources and you want to develop text comes back really puffy when it comes to articles and to adjectives. So you can expect text like, the glorious Banderas Bay is having this spectacular, stunning, blah, 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 blah. So in AI parlance, if you tell ChatGPT to unwaffle some text, it is the equivalent of, cut to the chase, get rid of all the garbage and get rid of all the fluffy articles and wordage and just give me the facts. So this morning I laughed because I had to unwaffle that text because it was puffy. So it is unwaffle, as in waffles that you eat in the morning. I don't know how that phrase came to be. I don't know if it's used beyond the confines of AI, but I've had to unwaffle more than once. And this is something you may want to consider if you are working with AI to generate content, or if your style of writing is, I don't know, waffly. Meanwhile, International Museum Day is coming, and Puerto Vallarta's Naval Museum has a series of special activities planned for May 18 from 6 to 9:30 p.m. And to make things fun, the first 10 people to arrive and say the phrase, Celebro el Día Internacional de los Museos en Puerto Vallarta, will enter free of charge. And for those of us that do not wish to accept the tongue-twisting challenge of Spanish diction, the museum is very, very affordable. I think they only charge 50 pesos per person. So this should be a great excuse to go and visit the Naval Museum if you haven't done so. It is temperature controlled, and it's right there, right next to the Los Arcos Amphitheater. And of course, this afternoon, before we go to dinner, I am so excited to connect with Amy and Sargento. They're going to talk to me about, we're going to do an interview for the Spotlight on this upcoming performance that they're doing together called Happy. This is going to be on May 20th. Amy has some additional shows that she's doing that are Pride related. So I'm excited to connect with them, and it should be a lot of fun. And now, before we continue, I did this. Well, Dora and I, remember Dora? Dora and I had a little conversation yesterday and the day before. I said to Dora, let's talk about one of my favorite cuss words, and that word would be pendejo. I love pendejo because it's plosive. It just like, it just falls off your mouth in such an amazing way when you're trying to be enthusiastic about something, or if you're really mad at someone, it is un pendejo. And it feels good when you say it. It has a certain oomph. The word pendejo also happens to have a legitimate meaning. If you look it up in the dictionary, a pendejo is a pubic hair. Yes, which I can think of several pendejos that are pubic hairs, but that's a different story. The common usage of the word is, the word pendejo is commonly used to refer to somebody that is really stupid. So whether you want to call someone a pubic hair or you want to call somebody a real pendejo or a real stupid person, don't do it in nice conversation. Don't do it at the dining room table. But here's what Dora and I came up with. I thought I would give Dora the opportunity to express herself mid-show and not at the beginning, at least for the first time. Here is Dora explaining the word pendejo.
A word with a spicy old root. It once meant a hair where the sun doesn't commute. But language evolved, as it often will do. Now it means someone who's not thinking it through. It's nasty, it's bold, not for polite scenes, but oh, how it pops, so crisp in between. It starts with a P, and it rolls off just right, like calling out stupid with an extra bite. So save it for moments that really deserve a word with some punch, a snarl in a swerve. Pendejo. Ha 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 ha.
Love, love, love that word. Of course, I would never say that in front of my late mother. or father, but it just feels great. You should try it someday. Pendejo. Ah, okay. Now that I've gotten that out of my system, thank you, Dora. Let's see what you guys bring to the table. Purum pim pim pum. Good mornings, good mornings, good mornings. It is great to see you as always. And it is great to read you as always. Deb Danaher. I have no idea where Montenido is, but it looks like a great name. I like it. Montenido. Not to confuse that with mantenido, which in Spanish means maintained, and it is used to relate to, adult men and women that continue to live at home and don't leave, so they are maintained by their parents. No relationship, I'm sure, to where you're at. Monte Nido. Nest Mount. I love it. Let's see what we have. Oh, Maria. It is always great to see you. It's great to see you when you join us at Music Appreciation. Maybe you will join us for dinner this afternoon. That would be lovely. Logan rolls his eyes, just as I did. Another theme park. I'll say it again. Nuevo Nayarit is truly the Orange County of Mexico. If you're from California, you'll understand that is a bit of shade. That's okay. We can enjoy a bit of shade here at Coffee and Headlines. But the bottom line is that was my thought. I mean, I do understand that. I mean, most of us mere mortals will never ever enjoy a place like Vidanta just because it's expensive. So, on the one hand, I understand that they would want to create another entertainment place for us mere mortals. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens, Muffin. But maybe we'll end up going there with a choo-choo and enjoy the choo-choo train or whatever. Oh, what a brilliant idea. Have booked our bed and breakfast for Chico de los Niños next year. Thank you so much for your nudge that got us there this year. What an incredible event. We'll be watching for ticket sales. Barbara, they usually start announcing right around January, and I will keep my eye open for that as well. I don't have any intel on dates as I have estranged myself from San Pancho and whatnot, but I am so very glad that you enjoyed that. It's such a wholesome, heartwarming project, and the presentations that those kids do are absolutely wonderful. Muffin had more coffee than I did. It has been hot during the day, but as soon as the sun goes down, it's been lovely and still super pleasant in the early morning. Enjoy it while it lasts, as just a few weeks more and will not be getting that overnight break. I totally agree with you. I have enjoyed nice evenings and early mornings. Let's enjoy it while we can. Speaking of Bobos, did you hear they try to make a second Yogi Bear, but they made a Bobo? Oh, I think that is one of those dense puns I'm not getting, but that's okay. I'm going to sound effect it anyway. There you go. Let's see. Golf carts are still a thing in Sayulita, but you do have to share the roads with the cars at the moment. Okay. I think they're only doing it on weekends. On waffling, I would be tempted to use with a doctor. Oh, that is very funny, Laura. And I read Logan's comment earlier. To waffle is to hesitate. So I guess to unwaffle would be to figure it out. I don't see the correlation. I've used waffle, before, and I understand what it means. So when I first found out that you can uncomplicate text when generated by AI by just saying unwaffle, and I thought it was a curious choice of words. And I have to agree with this, Sherry. The Naval Museum is very interesting to walk through. We spent several hours there and thought we could go through it in 10 minutes. Well, it depends on how much you want to be entertained and how much you want to learn. I have been there maybe 3 or 4 times, and I've always enjoyed it very much so. Boom, boom, boom. Barbara says golf carts are used in San Pancho. We rented one and had a hoot. I've never driven one, and I have to get that off my bucket list at some point just for the kick of it. And San Pancho is a perfect place to use them. I had a friend that commuted to work on a skateboard along the main avenue, along Avenida Tercer Mundo. Fascinating. Thank you for that. I'll accept that, and I love it. You look good in polo shirts, Paco. Thank you, Mr. M, Mr. Cunningham. Sometimes I wear polo shirts. Sometimes I wear T-shirts. It's my go-to. As long as they're cotton and comfy, I'm game. Montenido is a neighborhood, very rural in LA County. How nice. That sounds like a fun place to be, or relaxing. Traffic is bad enough already in the area proposed for a new amusement park. Well, I totally agree with you. That's kind of what the new highways and the new throughways are supposed to alleviate when everything is completed in a couple of years. It is what it is. We'll have to see what happens. Oh, hello, Stan. I look forward to seeing you this afternoon. We have a pug named Bobo. Do you guys, I keep saying to Stan and his husband Robbie have the most amazing pug rescue organization here in Puerto Vallarta, and I keep nudging Stan to please come to the spotlight for an interview to talk about this pursuit of you guys, because who knew there are that many pugs in Puerto Vallarta to be rescued? So let us nudge Stan together for a spotlight interview. And this is what I bring to the table. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I'm going to get some work done and get ready for my interviews this afternoon at the Joint. And then I look forward to seeing some of you for dinner together at Rico Indian. And of course, if I don't see you this afternoon, I'll see you tomorrow morning for more coffee, headlines, and stories. Have a great day.